Hello again. Welcome to the Wolves Only podcast powered by JWFIT. Today, you have myself, Justin Wenzel. You have my main man, Karate Scotty.
What's up, guys?
Oh, hell, Scotty.
Sorry, man.
No. Go ahead. Finish asking.
That was it. That's all I had.
Okay, good. And then you have our newest member of JWFIT leadership. She is a fitness, mindset, nutrition coach herself. She is also the first female member of JWFIT because quite frankly, guys, this was becoming a massive sausage fest, right? Like it was bad. We needed to break it up a little bit, you know?
It was really bad. It was bad. I was getting uncomfortable in some of the meetings. I was like, Justin, I desperately need you to bring Shani in because this is getting tough.
Yeah, rough. Anyways, Chani.
Hello. Hi. I'm very, very, very excited to be here. This is exciting.
This is fun. This
fun.
is a good time. And, we're so stoked about your success with the agency, with the community. Your involvement has been like second to none. I mean, you make it to everything. You're so involved with everybody. And it's funny to me, and I believe that your involvement and the level of work, obviously, that you put in, your talent, your charisma, your character, everything about you is fantastic. And it definitely has a direct reflect of why you are so successful in the online coaching space. But it wasn't always this way.
No.
Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong.
Because I feel like we had to take some time to really bring that Shani out that you had kept bottled up.
Yes, 100%.
And why? Why was that Shani bottled up?
It's so funny because I think about that now that I feel like I'm flying, with lack of a better word. I feel like I'm flying. And it's very transformational. But I think today I feel fully myself for the first time in my life. And I've been telling my closest friends and family this. I said to myself, I feel like I'm born now. And the reason why is I think, I think that even from a young age, I feel like I was made to be great. I felt it inside. I felt different from everybody, from my family, from my friends. I always felt like I always had better ideas. And it's not in a conceited way, but better ideas, wanted to be outside of the pack. I wanted to do things better and my way, always. I know it sounds really weird, but now I feel the freedom.
Not at all.
I'm like, you probably know exactly what I mean. I never wanted to be like everybody else, ever.
Yeah, that's the makings of a leader right there. That's a future leader. That's somebody that wants to, tear down boundaries and break through shit. That's amazing.
Yeah. And I think the reason why, back to your question, is because I was filled with a lot of low frequency people, whether it would be my family, my friends. And so, going through adolescence, I wasn't guided to have this birth, if that makes sense. And so today I'm grown. I've gone through a lot of stuff. And I feel like now I have the freedom to do what I want to do and be who I want to be. And I don't really care what everybody else is doing.
I love that. So going back, I want to learn more about you than what you shared with us on your first call with us ever. And for the people who don't know, when you come on to JWFIT, you go through kind of a vetting process, which is funny because it's a sales call for us, but for you, it's like an interview. Because we don't take everybody. And right away, we just fell in love with you. We thought you were incredible. And you just jumped in. You were like, yep, I'm done. Let's go. No questions. That's it. And it's funny to me because the success of somebody who can literally say yes to something and make sense of a situation, they're always more successful in real life. Okay. But again, that I would imagine that's not how you've always been, right? It took a level of gaining confidence over the course of a period of time. Now you went through a transformation, but I want to go back further than even that. I want to know about high school, Channy.
Yeah.
Adolescence is adolescence, right? But we really started to we got out of our awkward phase, or maybe we stayed in it. I never left my awkward phase. I'm awkward as fuck all the time. But I got to know what high school Channy was like.
Yes. So, well, I had an alcoholic and a drug addict for a father. So that was my whole childhood. So high school Shanny was, I remember being I was a straight edge kid, straight edge like Steve. Okay, because yeah, Steve. And like I said, going back to being out of the pack and being different is everybody in high school is doing drugs, having sex, smoking weed, drinking every weekend. And because my dad was like coming home freaking loaded, loaded, he'd go to work, come home, go to the bar, get loaded, come back home and wreak havoc over the house. So much so that like any kind of drug or alcohol in high school, really, I just didn't want to even get involved. And so that was my own personal way of being different. So I'd actually go to parties being completely like just no, I don't want that. No, I don't. And I'd get made fun of.
What's
Like,
that
oh,
feel like?
whatever. The
Yeah,
good
yeah,
goody
that's
two
crazy.
shoes. Yeah, it is wild because in high school everybody does that because they're experimenting.
Yeah.
But they usually come from good homes. They got parents that are married still, or everything's healthy at home, so they're wilding out, right? For me, I was
Which
like, I
isn't that
slept
kind of
in.
ass backwards? Wouldn't you think that would be the other way around, right? See, because like in my head, as like a degenerate party animal and shit, I
Yeah,
always thought that the kids that didn't drink and weren't partaking they had the good home and they had the good parent system, like telling them not to do these things. Where it was
Yeah, I
actually the
don't I
complete
don't think
opposite
that
in your
matters.
situation.
It was the
Yeah,
opposite in her situation, but I mean, typically you become a product of your environment. The likelihood if you have a drug addict, alcoholic parent, you are very likely to become a drug addict or alcoholic. Right?
yeah,
That's pretty
yeah,
typical. But I also see it just like you said, like how it worked out for Shani was that, they saw it, they've been around it, they've seen how bad it can get, so they don't want to be part of it. They don't want they learn from it. It's very I think it's more rare that people actually see it and take it for what it is and don't want any part of it than it's what you were born into and it becomes an actual thing in your life that you fall into.
yeah.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a genetic illness. I mean, it is.
oh yeah,
Well, yeah, it's
definitely.
fine.
And I think the best advice my dad ever gave me was when I found out he was into drugs and all that. Like, when you're young, you don't notice stuff. You kind of know something's not right in the family, but you don't really know until I really figured it out. I think I was probably 11 or 12, and my mom told me. And then once my dad found out that I knew, he sat me down and said, the one thing I can give you is don't ever try anything because you're my kid. Like, my blood runs through your veins. And if you don't want to live the life that I live, like, don't even go down that road because you're going to be just like
So he
me.
acknowledged that he was fucking up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh.
And he really did love me and really took care of me in his own way, even in his addiction. But going to high school, if we want to go, so that's part of high school. So I was looked at as like the goody two shoes. But when it comes to boys, I've been constantly like hungry for male attention because I didn't have that. And like I said, I mean, my house was nuts. Like, he'd come home and I was scared all the time. I didn't know. One time he came home and smashed the TV. We were watching TV. He came home high and like took a bat to the TV. Just like came in hot. Walked through the front door. We're sitting there, me and my mom watching TV and my brothers, and just fucking took a bat and just, it's like I lived on eggshells my whole life. Like I didn't know what day it was going to be, if it was going to be a good day or a bad day. And so that's why when I watched all these kids get loaded, I was like, it was kind of an out of body experience. I'd sit back and be like, what? Like, this looks awful. Like, I had no desire, no desire. But I wanted to be loved so bad. I would say I wasn't slutty. I've never been slutty, but I wanted like a boyfriend. So I always had like little boyfriends. And in high school, I had my first like boyfriend, I would have to say, like my relationship, where, you think you're in love, but I don't know if
Oh
it's
yeah,
love. You know
it's
what I
always
mean?
the first one. Yeah.
Yeah. So I love you and notes and all the things. And I lost my virginity to him, and I thought I was fine. Like I felt like I was taken care of, and then that turned into super abusive. Like he was very toxic. He never touched me or anything, but everything else, you know, yelling, screaming, name calling, and of course I'm a little firecracker, so I'll never lay down ever. So I was doing it back, and it was pretty bad for a long time. And I stayed until probably like I think I was like 19, and then I broke up with them. And I was kind of crazy, but I'm a type of person, like if I shut it down, I shut it down, right? So so I broke up with
Just
him,
turned off.
just off. And like I remember Facebook was the only social media back then. So like I blocked him and I moved to Thailand. I legit
Oh,
moved
what?
to another country because this
I
this
mean,
like I was like I'm out. Like I needed to leave the country to get
well,
over this.
yeah, but
All
at
right.
that point, you had went through like right these years with your father of kind of feeling like that, and then like you finally gave in a little bit to a man or a boy, and then kind of went through the same thing. So yeah, I feel like if I was you, I probably would have done the same thing and went, I got to get out of here like right now.
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
was
It's
it
like
was
you learn the lesson from the substance, but you didn't learn the lesson from the character. And what is a lot of men? I mean, a lot of men are emotionally abusive,
Mhm.
physically abusive. They're boys, right? They're always going to be boys. Um, but but it's like, that it's like that codependency that, you may not have gotten the actual addiction, but you fell into like that codependency, thing. And that's how so many I as an addict, naturally I'm a codependent, right?
Mhm.
And and it's like I latch on to like everything, even like my business, my relationships. Like I'm not crazy. Maybe Scotty would disagree, but I'm not
Yeah, just a
crazy. But I
little.
I, I do understand though, like that seeking of attention, whether it be in forms of people pleasing, needing to be with somebody all the time.
Yes.
um it is actually, it's addict behavior if you didn't realize. And that could definitely be something that was instilled, because whether you were neglected, it's like trauma can turn into codependency.
Oh, 100%. And I didn't figure that out till recently that I am. So, just like you said, I didn't pick up a drug, but my drug is codependency or having to need somebody, like have somebody in my life all the time and then not choose the right guys or have like, and it's so funny because my intentions are always good in the beginning, like in the past, because they show me like all the stops,
Right.
like all the
Mhm.
facade, like the rose colored glasses are on and like the smoke, you know what I mean? The smoke show's happening. Like you're like, whoa, this is great. And then all of a sudden it hits a curve and you're like, oh shit, it's the
Yeah,
same
that's not who you
broken,
they're different.
yeah, the
Yeah.
same thing. Yeah. And so it didn't happen until like this, actually during this time of being on with you guys, because I've really hit a very healing, transformational journey of like sitting by myself and getting through loneliness to then come on the other side and be like, yeah, I'm alone, but I'm fucking happy. I'm so happy. Like
Yeah.
content. It's weird. It's weird for me because I've never faced that. Yeah. And going, like I am a catch and I'm building myself up, and then my standards, like right now my standards are so high that I just like, I don't know when, I don't know how, I don't know who it is, but like I'm a firm believer it'll happen for me, but it's gonna happen on my terms now.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And it is like, this is the thing about it. You will, like, when you put enough work in on yourself, and I learned this too. I learned this the hard way, you know. Scotty will tell you, he's known me forever. I jumped from relationship to relationship. It was just the way I was, right? I was just like you, you know. I loved being in a relationship, and it wasn't until I truly got sober and truly like fell in love with myself, just where you're at right now, where like that vibe will attract, right? And
Yes.
you'll actually bring the person on. And the most beautiful thing about it is, it's like, again, we talk about this all the time, but it's like the airplane. When the airplane goes down and the oxygen masks fall out, you put your mask on yourself before you assist the person beside of you. You got to make sure your needs are met. You got to make sure that you are truly happy with the person that you are before you can go on
Yes.
and truly give yourself to someone else. Because insecurity and self-doubt and all the shit that the fear, all the shit that we hold inside, and we don't actually treat the trauma. Are you fucking kidding me? Because you carry trauma with you. Like, people say, you know, oh, she's great, but she's got baggage, right? Not you, but, you know, oh,
Oh
she's
yeah,
great, but
no.
she's got baggage. That's that
Yeah.
trauma. That's the fear.
Yeah.
That's all the shit that we deal with. And then we carry it into a relationship, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that person has trauma, most likely too, that they never dealt with.
Yep. Yep.
And baggage plus baggage equals
Yeah.
toxicity.
Yeah,
Yep.
those collide, and it's just a world of pain. The whole relationship.
It
Yeah.
is.
It's funny too, and because sitting here, both of you kind of just told this story, and I'm in the same boat as well. But I think, Shani, what's happening too is you got to that point of, we never really give up the addictive personality and the addiction tendencies. Those never really go away. You just found it in something else now, which is your business and what's making you happy. So the idea of you settling for anything less than what you're doing right now just doesn't make sense, right? And
Mm-mm.
ultimately, that's where it's hard, because we always talk about addiction in a good manner, because when you channel it into the right things, it brings you abundance, right? And I
Yes.
think like that's where you're at, and that's why it is hard. And why would you settle for anything when you're in that place in your life?
Yeah. And I'm a firm believer that people that have addiction issues or tendencies are just really high achievers. Like
Oh,
we're
yeah.
a we're
Yeah.
a different DNA. I really feel like
Yeah.
that. I feel like we're meant to do insane things, and it's like an unbroken horse, right? Like a stallion, right? Just crazy,
100%.
Yeah.
wild. And they're like, he's freaking wild, but you break him down, that's literally how I feel. I feel like, and that's something that you're either born with or you're not born with. And I feel like
No,
I feel
that's a fact.
yes.
You know, I always
And the
I
world's got
say
to
it,
kind of kick your ass for a minute first for you to start to
Yeah.
open up and realize that, right? Like
right.
like you're born with it, and you know it as a child and probably into your teens a little bit, and then the world beats the shit out of you and you forget it. And then you have to go through all that traumatic shit like you talk about, Justin. You have to go through all those experiences to come out
Mhm.
on the other side of the positive addiction and use it for what you were given the gift for in the first place.
Right, because
Yes.
let's face it, you could take an addict, a codependent, an alcoholic, and you can group those actually three together. There actually is Codependence Anonymous. I don't know if you guys knew that.
I
No.
didn't.
Yep,
Wow. Wow.
yep, 100%. There's meetings for codependents.
That's
It's
amazing.
that serious,
There's
though. Yeah.
anonymous for everything, though. You know, there's
Oh yeah.
furries anonymous. You know, no, but I will tell you that, like, you can take that same exact mentality, that same disease, because that's what it is, and you just apply it to whatever. You're a codependent and you latch onto your success, your business, and everything. You're an addict, you become addicted to your business, your success, your family life, your actual connection with real people once you find sobriety, because you will not find true connection if you're using.
No.
You will not find true connection if you're carrying baggage and you try to jump into another relationship. It's impossible.
Yes.
When
Yeah.
you're fucked up, that's not connection. Period. It's
Mm-mm.
not.
Mm-mm.
No.
In fact, I love this saying, the opposite of addiction is connection.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
it's very
Yeah,
true.
it's so true. It's so true. Yeah, like I mean, I don't think it's normal to be like 5 years old and thinking to myself, I'm gonna get the fuck out of here. But that's not normal. Like I'm gonna do great things at 6 years old. Like imagining a big house and doing what I want and going where I want and being happy. Like I used to think and fantasize like that. Like what kid does that? When you're a kid, you're supposed to be thinking about playing outside, playing with your toys, your friends. You're just like, oh, no, I was like thinking goals at that age because my house was so dysfunctional and I knew it wasn't right. I didn't know how to describe it to myself. But back to the horse analogy, I feel like a stallion, like inside, energy wise. Like I run mentally and emotionally, and it's like I get that high from this, like working my business, helping people. Just like you said, you have to find that other outlet. And I feel high half the time on life. Like I'm high on life. And I'm
That's
for
a
and
great
I
I
way
know
get
to
it.
you
be.
guys
I
know what I'm
totally
talking
get it.
about. You know what
So
I'm
let me
talking
ask you this. Do you think that, and I already know the answer to this, but do you believe that because of the dysfunction in your family, do you think that if you came from a normal, mediocre dad, worked a mediocre job and came home and life was just even keel and everything, because you already showed to be the opposite of what most people end up in your environment, but do you believe that if you grew up in a normal environment that you would have been able to get to the level of where you're at right now? Or not even that, but you would have the dreams and the goals and the aspirations and all of those things to get to where you want to be? Or do you think you would have ended up settling down, getting
I
fat,
yep.
being a stay-at-home mom?
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. I feel like it put a chip on my shoulder.
Fuck
Like I
yeah, it did.
it fucking drives me. It drives me. It's almost like like a hunger that's unsatiable or a thirst that's unsatiable. Like I'm never satisfied. Like I hit something and then I'm like, cool, hit it, celebrate for like 5 minutes or whatever a day. Okay,
On to the
now I'm
next.
hungry.
Next.
Next
Yeah.
thing, you know. And
Yeah.
no, I don't think I would be who I am, 100%.
No.
And I'm not docking healthy households. I'm not docking
Is that
small.
healthy?
No, because
Is
I
that
always
healthy?
no, it's not. Because normalcy is not necessarily good. Like average in my mind is negative. You're either
It's
a loser
absolutely negative.
or
Oh,
a
it's
winner.
absolutely negative.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
You
You're
Like
either
know, there are
no
people
leaps in
that
history, no big changes, nothing was ever no, we wouldn't be where we are as a society, as a species, anything without without it. Like like we need it.
progression.
the
Yeah,
only
Progression, yeah.
people that are okay with being mediocre, like there are people out there that are, I'm okay with working a 9 to 5, I'm okay with being a
wild.
fat dad and fat mom, and oh, we go to the town rally or whatever, the football game, and we wear our high school matching sweaters, and that's like the excitement of our life, and we just work for someone else the rest of our lives, and our kids are going to do the same thing. But I really think that because they know that great things come out of people. They've all seen Michael Jordan, they've all seen LeBron James, they've all seen Tiger
Right.
Woods, they've all seen, can we name some white guys too, right? But they've all
Yeah.
seen these like great, all this greatness in throughout
Throughout it.
history.
Yeah.
So they know greatness exists, but are they really
idea of
okay? Are they
Right.
really
The
okay,
idea of them
Scotty?
achieving that yeah, this that's not a real thing though, right? Like they know it exists, they watch it, but like in here, internally and mentally, it's
It
not
doesn't
to
exist
them.
for
It's
them.
not achievable. It's never gonna happen, and they
I think
just
So
it's
so
stuff.
so do you really go on being okay with that?
Not if
Is
you're
that something you
me
accept?
or you.
I think it's
For
an
a lot of people,
acceptance.
yeah, unfortunately.
I think they lie
But
to
do you really
themselves.
think, that's my question, is do you really think they're happy with that decision that they made to never go on to do anything at all?
Oh no, never. No.
No.
So do you
But
don't
they'll
think there's
never. But they'll
one,
never
because I
tell
don't,
you.
I'm asking you,
Yeah.
not playing, I don't think it's devil's advocate to ask you this, but I'm asking you is that, do you think anybody is okay with that? Now,
No.
some people's average looks like $1 million to somebody, that's at a super low,
Right.
Right.
right? There's always that.
But
There's
it's
always
still.
that
But
guy.
it's still. But
But
no, you're still never okay with it.
right,
You know,
right.
Anybody,
you know
no
what
one
I,
is, and
yeah,
yeah.
you know what I think? I think that people lie to themselves so long that they convince themselves that they're happy.
Oh
I
yeah,
really,
absolutely.
it's like a
The excuses
brainwash.
compile in the head, and as the
Yes,
years go by, the excuses that they've told themselves as to
yes.
why it's okay for them to be in this position is what they continue to live on. And then
But it's
eventually,
yeah,
it's the idea of anything other than that becomes what's a facade, becomes not reality. When in reality,
Out of reach.
out of reach, yeah. But
Could
the
you
reality
imagine
is,
like
people
being
like to
okay
know.
with that, saying that's out of reach to yourself over and over and over and over again? And then but you cannot do that to the point where you never amount to anything, to continuously tell yourself that's out of reach, to self-deprecate so much to the point that you live a life of mediocrity or you never do anything and call yourself a happy person. I don't believe that that's possible.
Right.
no.
I don't.
And
I'm going to make a blanket statement right there. It is impossible to be happy and average.
I 100% agree. Because what is the root of it? The root of it is fear. They're
Mhm.
Yeah.
fearful. They're so
Fear,
scared.
insecurity, all yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
my mom, I love my mother. She is like an angel on earth to me. And I wouldn't be who I am today without her. But the best advice she ever told me when I was young was she goes, shy and meek people are really the most conceited people out there because all they care about is themselves. How do I look? What is this person thinking of me? Like that
Yep.
fear mentality. But it's like, oh, she's shy. Like my mom was like, don't be shy. Say hi. Like talk. And like she forced me into, she goes, if you're ever shy, like she corrected me right away. And she told me that that's not a noble thing. That's what she would say. That's not noble to be like,
No.
I'm shy and like, like, oh, she's shy. No, my mom's like, they're the most conceited, self-absorbed people out there because all they're thinking about
And they
is
go
themselves.
on, they'll go on and they'll take it one step further and disguise that shyness, that meekness to humility.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not
humble.
shy, I'm just humble.
Yeah.
No, you're not.
I hate that word, by the way. Humbleness. I hate that word. What does that
Do you?
mean? Yeah. What?
No, you know what?
I don't.
no,
I think
like
I don't actually. It's funny because I agree with Channy on that. Like, what does humbleness really mean? If somebody's like, "Hey, you did a great job," and you're like, "Oh, yeah, I tried my hardest." Like, is that humble?
You know what it is? I think it's the inability to accept that you're good at something or that you've done well. I think even being humble falls in the arena of being scared and being afraid to tell people you're proud of yourself and that you did do that and fuck yeah, I'm this and the hell you're goddamn right I'm that. So ultimately, like being very humble is kind of like being afraid to say to yourself or to say to other people, yes, I am that good. Yes, I am worth this much. Like, yes, I did do that. Like,
I get
I
blown
think it's a
away
lack
that
of
people say
confidence.
that I'm humble, and I don't think I'm. I think I'm arrogant. But people always say to me, "You're so humble." I'm
But I
like,
think
"No,
people
I'm
that
not."
call it arrogance are people that are also insecure because I think emotionally mature people that are happy and peaceful in their place because they're always growing don't see it as that. I don't see it as that.
When
Like I
somebody
don't.
compliments you
Spot
or
on.
says you did great on something, what's your response? I just say thank you. I accept
Yeah,
it.
thanks,
Yes.
man. Usually
Yeah,
mine is
thanks. I
thank
worked really
you, and
hard.
this is a little bit about what I did to do it. Like, yeah, every time.
Yeah.
And
I
that's
think
the
the only people that
The
see it
only
as
way you're going to
arrogant,
piss me off is what you're going to piss me off with is if you say it must
I'm
be
paying the bill.
nice. No,
Yeah,
yeah,
must be.
that too.
Must be. It is nice, motherfucker. I worked
That's
my ass
again
off
my
for it.
response
Thanks.
is thanks. Yeah, it is. It's really fucking nice. I worked really hard
Mhm.
for it.
Yeah,
And that goes back
exactly.
to what we were talking about, is how when people want to just be average, that society has turned into average. And so accepting even a compliment, like, thank you. It's like
Yeah.
Yeah.
society doesn't want you to even say thank you. Like, oh, girls are the worst at this too, because I'm not a girl's girl if you haven't, figured that
Well,
out
we
by
know.
now. I have girlfriends, but I'm not a girl's girl. It's like, girl, you look so pretty today. You look so hot right now. No, really? No, you look hot. It's like no one. It's like if I sat in that and somebody said, "You look really pretty today," and I said, "Thank you," like sincerely, like, "Thank you so much." They'd be like, "Oh my gosh, she's really conceited," you know? It's
Yeah,
awful.
it's so
It's
fucked
so
up.
bad. It's like any accomplishment, whether it's success or anything, someone should be able to say, "Hey, great job," and the other person receive
Right.
it and it be
Without turning
totally
it into a
Without
transaction.
turning it into a
like,
competition or something, yeah,
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
themselves. Yeah. So
yeah,
let's kind of dive a little deeper into like that idea of, the not being so humble and all that. I want to talk for you guys that don't know, and for those of you that are going to look Shani up after this, you'll kind of see this. But I want you to tell us the story of the transformation of Shani from where you were just a little while ago to right now, as far as your self-confidence and who you are and kind of what you went through to get to that
Well, I
point.
want to know about your physical transformation because you were kind of
That's
a
what I'm
big
talking
girl.
about. That's what
yeah.
I mean, from being from all of that happened there, and what
Yeah.
that story of what came from that, and then to where you are now, as to
How
how
so
you.
you weren't always heavy, right?
I
Before you
wasn't
got
always
heavy, you
heavy.
were
I was actually the skinny kid. I've never been athletic. I've been more artistic. So I was a musician from a young age. My parents tried to put me in group sports. I mean, I did all the things: softball, volleyball, and what else did I do? I did other, like, group
well,
sports.
when you were heavy, you probably could have played softball, right?
But I got heavy. I got heavy after kids, and I'll go into that. But I was a skinny kid, so again, back. You know what sport I liked? I liked swimming. I was a freaking
Okay.
fish in the water. And you know why I like swimming? Because who's my competition?
You.
Skinny kids.
Me. No, no,
That's
no.
not
I wouldn't
swimming.
have been a very good swimmer.
So meaning, okay, so you have meets, you have meets against other schools, but you're actually in swimming, you're going against yourself. So you're trying to
Just
be
to beat your
faster.
time.
You're beating your own time. So see, my brain was already functioning that way without even me knowing it. Like, that was my sport. I was like, cool, yeah, I like to be a team player. I've always been social. I have no problem having friends, but it was like the drive to be like, oh shit, like I just swam, whatever, whatever. Okay, well, that means next lap I got to beat that by a couple seconds. So I was already driven that way. And then jump ahead. So back to the dysfunctional codependency relationships. I mean, I met my husband after that boyfriend in high school. So
How old were
um,
you when you met your husband?
I was well, we started dating at 21, 21, super
So how long
young.
were you in Thailand? Just a year?
Yeah, about a year.
I
Yeah.
say so that was like little
So
stint, but
right,
then
right, yeah.
So you
So I
came
went
right
up
back. You came back to like your comfort zone.
exactly. So I went to Thailand, had all this self-discovery, came back, got right into a new relationship, And at that time I thought in my mind, I was like, oh, because he was better so this is wild, wild. He had a better family, like from the outside looking in, right? like like middle class, very big family. Everybody's like really middle to upper class, but really loving, and just you know what I mean, like just everything that for me, that I came from trauma, looked at that and was like, I want that. I want to like
that
come into
picture
that.
perfect movie scene at the end of the
Yes.
dinner
Mhm.
and Thanksgiving and all
Yes.
that. Yeah.
Yes. And
Yep.
he was like that too. Like, he hadn't really experienced anything bad. Like, just very like, and in my mind, and I didn't realize this till later in life, till after my divorce, was this. I looked at that and I was like, maybe that'll rub off on me. So instead of fixing my own demons and healing from my own trauma, I was like, okay, I can mask it with this. So we got married at 23, pregnant right away. Didn't plan that, but pregnant right away. So by 25, I was a full blown mom, stay at home mom. He didn't want me to work. So that's another thing. Like, he wanted that cookie cutter, like, I'm the breadwinner, you're the stay at home mom raising the kids. All the while, I'm fucking miserable, you guys. I'm miserable because I'm such a high drive success person. I'm such a go getter from such a young age, and I want to do my own thing. I want freedom to do my own thing, and I'm very creative. So it's like, even in that, I was starting this. Like, I started a side business, like a health and wellness side business, selling stuff like supplements and stuff. Then I started this one other thing, and I was constantly like, how can I find my little crack, in the floor to where I'm making him happy because I'm at home with the kids, but I can still earn some money and maybe like feed that urge to be successful in something. So I was trying to have two worlds, and it was just
Yeah,
not. It was
you were
not
just
fitting.
completely oblivious to the fact that like you didn't recognize how narcissistic that behavior is for a man to like, because I understand that, and I can say that for a man to be, you're not
Yeah,
going to do this, I want you to stay at home, that's so down the road he can go, well, no, it's because I do all of these things for you, so do what I say, listen to me, and that's when it starts to get, in my
totally.
opinion, it might have been different for you, but
No, totally narcissistic. No. And the health and wellness company, I was doing really well and really quickly. And he was threatened by it. He didn't like it. It was like a competition, like jealousy. And so,
Uh,
and you know how that comes in forms in a relationship. It's like backhanded comments or just not really
yeah.
proud of you. There's never a, wow, I'm so proud of you. Like, great job. None of that. None of that. Just kind of like, oh yeah, cool, whatever, you know? And
Yeah, at that
yeah.
point, I probably already started to feel, you know, going downhill at that when you couldn't, share that success a little bit.
yeah. And so so I have two kids for people that don't know, but when I was pregnant with my daughter, I was 8 months pregnant. And then my dad committed suicide. And
Ugh.
it was it was awful because I'm his only birth child. So I have two older brothers from her first marriage, and so I was next of kin. So the people were searching for me. They're like trying to find my last known address and like knocking on doors and trying to call. So they start calling all my like close immediate like family, but they can't disclose that he had died, right? Because they have to tell me the news. And they found my brother. So they went to my brother's house and told my brother. So I get a call from my sister in law, and I knew it. As soon as I answered the phone, she's like, "What are you doing right now?" I'm like, "I was at my in law's house." I'm like, "I'm at, my in law's house." And she said, and she was silent. And I literally said it. I was like, "He killed himself, didn't he?" And she's like, "Yeah." And I'm like 8 months pregnant. And I'm
Oh,
just lost it. I think I just screamed. I like screamed. And so that was the beginning of where I just downward spiraled. Just so because I have that addictive personality, I didn't want to start going to do drugs because I saw where that took them. So what did I do? I just freaking filled it with everything.
food.
Food, porn, porn, even because I was so unsatisfied with my marriage and myself. Um, I was addicted to just anything that would just like music, and I was flooding myself with all these things, like staying busy, kids, like just I didn't want
Just
to
anything
think
to keep your mind off of
anything,
what was really happening.
anything, anything. Yeah. And I had to keep up this facade of being a good mom, and I had kids, and my kids are everything. So even though I felt like drinking and I felt like going to use, I didn't. It was like I was stubborn. I was like, I'm not going to go down that road. But then everything else looked like shit. And then I actually went through a period of time where I was so suicidal that I was thinking about how I would do it. Like, how could I do it? Could I do it like this? Like, where would I do it? I can't do it at the house. Like your mind starts going there.
Oh
And
yeah.
then,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, been there too.
you're like,
Oh
well,
yeah.
oh,
Know that
yeah.
all too well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I broke down, I think, one day because I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, I could not recognize myself. I, like my body looked awful. I was so stressed out. And then I started thinking, wow, I think I've been thinking about killing myself for several months now. Like it hit me. I'm just like my dad. Like, wow, I did everything but hit drink and hit a drug. So
Yeah.
how really
Same
different
ending
am
result.
I? Huh? What's that?
Same end result. Yeah.
See, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
look where I am. Cool. I did such a great job. So that was the beginning. That was the beginning. I was like, I'm done. I'm just so done doing this and living like this. And it's it's really sad. A lot of people say that they turn their life around for their kids, but I'd have to disagree because when you are in such a dark place, you could still look at your kids and be like, you know what, they'll be better off without me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
There's
No, I can relate to that. When I went to take my life, um, I was like, man, what? My son doesn't even need me.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then you have those conversations in your head, especially when you're really angry. You could be driving or just walking, right? And you start to have that conversation, and it's like, does it fucking even matter if I never go back or if I fucking just dead? They're not even give a shit. They don't even give a fuck anyways, right? And then you just start trying to convince yourself, like, it's okay, just do it. This is easier. Just fucking, no one cares, no one cares, no one
No one
cares,
cares.
and you try
Yeah.
to convince yourself. And how fucked up is it in that moment that it's like a normal conversation, like you're just having this real normal, like this is
Yeah.
you're really about like this is how you feel, like it's no fucking big deal. Like how fucked up is that when you go and look back on like I was just talking to myself about like fuck it, I could just drive off this fucking cliff and it'd probably be fine. Like
Yeah.
It's funny
what?
because I'll tell you that when you start to like have suicidal ideation, the first lie you tell yourself is everybody goes through this.
Mm-hmm.
You start thinking you're like other people think about this. Like this isn't like actual
Normal.
suicidal thoughts. No, it's
Yeah,
normal.
this is
People
normal.
think about this all the time.
Oh
And
yeah.
then like I've asked some people straight up addicts, and I've been like, if you ever get into like any suicidal? They'd be like, no. Why would I do that? I just want to
Yeah,
get high. Like, and I'm like,
yeah.
okay, so even like the addicts that were like
So
under
there's
the
more to this
pier
then.
in Huntington, like jacking, like using fucking toilet water out of the pier fucking bathroom, to jack, heroin. They weren't even thinking about committing suicide. And here I was like thinking about committing suicide in my fucking brand new fucking truck and like in my fucking skyscraper condo, whatever. Like, and
Like
it's like
shit,
it
maybe
really
I
is.
do have a
No, it
fucking
really
problem.
is. It's like in you, like that idea. I can remember for me, like there were like moments with suicide where I would like it would always, a lot of times it would come from like every high has an equal low, right? But it wasn't even a matter of like I'd have been hungover a million times, I've been strung out a billion times, I've been like all of that. But it was like whenever I went from to like an emotional high, like
Mm-hmm.
where it would be like an experience or like things like that, and then I went back down. No, now of course there was the serotonin drop from the drugs that I was doing and everything
Right.
else, but it was always in that moment where it was like I can remember the one time I came to on like some railroad tracks at like 4 o'clock in the morning, excuse me, and it wasn't, I drove to them and I was fucked up, yes, but I was in a great mood. I was like happier than shit. I went to a birthday party. Everyone was like, look, hey, you look amazing. I can't believe how great, I was like the star of the fucking birthday party, right?
Yeah.
And like I was pumped. I had a great time. My wife at the time didn't want to even go, and I was like, I'm going anyway. So I went by myself. I had a blast, and it's very unlike me because if you know me, like even when I was like fucked up, like especially if I was doing coke, I wanted to be alone. Like I just wanted to be alone and just get high and like watch stuff all day long, whether it's porn, movie, whatever. Like I just want to like watch stuff and then just keep getting high and then trying like whatever. So I got back from this and I was like in such a good mood. And then I just got in my truck and started driving. And I was like, I don't even know if I was ready to kill myself, but in my head, it kept like,
Mm-hmm.
just fucking like, this is it. And it was like, I romanticized the idea. It's a very, very like,
Yeah, like you paint the picture of the scene,
yeah,
right? Yeah,
it is.
yeah,
You
yep,
romanticize suicide when you're actually suicidal. Like
yeah,
Yeah.
suicide doesn't always look like, oh, my life sucks, I'm gonna kill myself. No,
No,
no, it's a deeper, more fucked up thing than that. It's a subconscious thing. Like, you wonder, I
but
always
you
think,
get to a point where you want it to like look good and like be like this
yeah,
fucking
oh yeah,
drawn
yeah,
out, planned out, like fucking huge scene, like there was this whole plot. Like you really
yeah.
get into it.
That's when it
Yeah,
started to scare me. When it
true.
started to scare me is when I would like disappear and like go into my feelings and like run for no reason. Like it was like everything's good.
Well, it scared
Yeah,
me when I was happier. Like my mood shifted to where I was happier when I was thinking about it. That's when
yeah,
Mhm.
it like
yeah,
I was so unhappy in my life that, and then like I wasn't happy. So then as soon as I started thinking about committing suicide, I got happier. Like
yeah. You're like, oh
that's
shit, it could just be this easy. I could just
Yeah.
be done with
yeah.
this.
You're
Yeah,
like,
Even if
oh
the thoughts bring you back to reality, it does
yeah,
something like romantic and emotional to you
yes,
where it's not.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that most people it is like a cry for help. But when people are truly suicidal, I wouldn't tell anybody.
No,
yeah.
nobody knew.
No,
I was terrified to tell anybody.
No,
no.
no, yeah,
As
because I
much,
would have
yeah, as
had
elaborate as it was in your head, you know.
Yeah.
no, no,
The
nobody
last
knew.
thing I would think is like going through a breakup to be like, oh, I'm gonna kill myself. Like, no, I fucking
Yeah,
took
no.
suicide serious.
Yeah,
No,
yeah. You're
I
not gonna know
agree.
about
I
this.
agree
Yeah,
with
I was
that.
serious about that shit.
I agree with that. I feel like the people that are really serious about it, no one knows. And it's the same thing. I
Yeah,
mean, you hear these stories, and it's like, without going off on a tangent too much, but you hear these stories, and everybody that actually succeeds, they're like, what? I had
I
no
had no
idea
idea.
that they
Yeah,
were
Hmm.
sad
yeah,
or suicidal.
Yep.
Yeah, because
yeah,
No, that's
you
exactly
you can't
true.
tell anyone.
hmm
No one knows.
yeah.
No one knows.
So
Yeah.
Yep.
going back, right? So okay, so
Yes.
going back to that. So you hit that point, you hit this point of like, all right, I'm fucking done. Like, and then
Mhm.
like what does that look like moving forward?
So I'm still married, and I'm like, you know what? I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I'm going to slowly chip away. Like I'm going to slowly crawl out of this hole in my situation I'm in. I can't change my partner. My partner's, who he is. Can't change my life like that. So let me just start to chip away. So I started taking care of myself, going to the gym. Um, and in that time, like I said, I was doing that like health and wellness company. I was doing so good and growing who I was. And he stayed back there. You know what I mean? When you start to
Yep.
outgrow someone, so you're very codependent and you rely on each other for there's no, it's so unhealthy. Like when you think back, you're like, what? Like you,
Yeah. Well, the biggest lie you told yourself was I can't change my partner.
exactly, exactly. I was just like, oh, well, okay. So I started going, doing my own thing. And I think it drove us apart. And there was so many things. I mean, he had depression too, and but I take full responsibility. I take full responsibility. I was dealing with my dad's death, and I started getting therapy for it. I started really going down like that rabbit hole of like your inner child and daddy issues and all that stuff, and I started upheaving all this stuff. So in my mind, I'm just like, cool. And I'm like, that's like the beginning of me just changing. And I think it was the demise of our marriage, to be honest. I think it was uncomfortable for him. I think he looked
You
at
outgrew
me.
him.
Yeah, he was like, oh,
Yeah.
she's leaving me behind. And
Hmm.
so he came home to me to be like, I'm done. Just came home one day, I'm just done.
No
And
Do you
infidelity
think that?
I found out later. Yes, I did find out
Okay,
later. Yeah,
that
on
that was
his
gonna be
end, or
kind
your? Oh, yeah. Well, obviously on his end.
yeah,
right.
on his end. Um, and just with respect for him, but not really. But I don't even care anymore at this point. But yeah, there was. And so then it's like I was on this high of bettering myself and coming into a better place in my life, to just then get it ripped right out from me again. That's how I felt. So I continued on this, like getting healthier. I used the gym to propel me. I was like, man, I got in such incredible shape during that time. And then at the same time, I'm like, cool, I got to provide for my kids. So like, I became a cocktail waitress. So I was like in a thong, like, every weekend, like fishnet stockings, because I had to like live with my parents to provide for my kids. Like I was a stay at home mom. So I had no career, no money, right? So I'm like, what do I do? So I became a bartender. And then my mom was helping me with the kids. And so my bottle service, because I was a bottle service, like at a club, like, woo,
Yep.
retarded,
Yep.
retarded. Anyway, I could go into the club at 9 and then be home at like 3 a.m. So my kids were asleep. So I was like, cool, I could make like $1,000 a night doing this, every weekend, Friday, Saturday, whatever. So I was doing that. It was a dark time though. So that's when I picked up drinking. So I started picking up drinking. So I became party. And I was trying to get through my divorce that way, like
Oh yeah.
whatever. I'm just gonna work. All I know is I'll just freaking work, make that money. Um, and then I got into another relationship. Look at me. How great am I? Another relationship. Got picked
Where'd
up
you
by
meet this one?
this one was a was a friend of a friend. Um, and when I met him, we were so much in the same place, like emotionally and stuff. And he has trauma. I feel like everyone has trauma unless you heal it,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
he had trauma, and I was so vulnerable. I was like this baby bird, But I was just like, love me, you know what I mean? It's like, just love me, because I wasn't fully happy with myself. So it's like there was a side of him I really liked, and then there was another side that I saw, but in my mind I justified, it's fine, it's all right, it's okay, right? So I just went with it. I went with it, and I kept growing. I kept growing. I kept growing. So that relationship was like 4 years off and on. And, there was some infidelity on, his end too, here and there. And I just kept telling myself, well, like, maybe I'll change him. Maybe I'll change him. And it wasn't until I had my mom say, hey, sweetheart, so, it kind of slapped me with reality. She's seen it all, right? She's seen my whole life with men in my life. And she goes, so when are you gonna figure out that you're chasing your father?
Leave it to mom.
Right.
Woof. That's
Woof.
rough.
Rough. When are you
Yeah.
gonna figure out that these are not your dad? These guys are not your dad. Like you're not gonna fix them.
I like your mom.
She's
Yeah,
amazing.
I do too.
And it just and so I realize I'm like, wow, I've detrimented myself by being with these dysfunctional men. Like finding love and chasing my dad through men instead of
Yeah.
building myself and healing myself and being completely 100% okay with myself and making my own
So let
path. Go ahead.
I was say, so let me ask you a question kind of in relation to that. So your mom and dad were married,
Yes. Hmm.
like until he committed suicide?
No, they divorced when I was 16. So in high school.
Okay. So
Hmm.
so this is still kind of relevant, I guess. So do you think, and I've always been curious to ask somebody this, so if I'm out of line, please let me know.
No,
But do you
shoot away.
think that because as a young child growing up as a young woman, you watched your mother love your father even through all of that, that you kind of took like it was okay to like have a broken person and to try to change them? Do you think that had something to do with why you continue to do that?
A
It's a
hundred
good
percent.
question.
A hundred
Yeah.
percent. Yeah. Because she stayed with him. They were together for 20 years. And then, she finally, like, when I was 16, was like, I can't do this anymore. And so, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because I
Absolutely.
would imagine, like, as a young lady, like, even knowing or having a little bit of an idea that what was going on wasn't exactly right, you kind of,
Mhm.
like, watched your mom carry that burden for a very long time, like it was okay, and probably put on a little bit of that facade, like it's still love, and this is how a relationship
Yep.
is, and this is what love
Mhm.
looks like, kind of
Mhm.
thing. So you had, like, this very skewed image already before you even got to the trauma.
Very dysfunctional. Very dysfunctional. So it's funny that you say that because so after my divorce, I've never told my kids who I've dated. Even the last relationship, he wasn't my boyfriend. Didn't bring him around really a few times, but he was my friend. But no affection, no physical touch, because I literally did not want to show my kids any type of relationship with me that would be detrimental to them. Like, I don't want the
Wow.
swinging
Yeah.
revolving door
Yeah.
because it happened to me. So even now it's like, do I think I'll get remarried one day? Maybe. Would I like a life partner? Absolutely. But that person, it has to be completely healthy because I think about my kids. I think about what my like for instance, my daughter, because
Yeah.
what you see growing up, you mimic that, you mirror it. Like, I was exactly what you said. I was doing it without realizing I was doing it.
Yeah.
I
And
was,
and
yeah.
I always wondered too, like, and part of the reason I asked that is because, for a brief moment in my life, I was that guy to my wife, right? To where like I know my daughter looked at me doing all of this bad shit, but my wife continued. So, but fortunately for me, in my circumstances, I was able to overcome that and become the right person. So now I can show my daughter what it should look like, right? But like
Right.
9 times out of 10, it just doesn't happen, So like even myself now, I still have moments where like, man, I hope I did everything right in order to show her this is what a real good relationship looks like, and that the guy that I was in the past is not, and like that. Even now, years and years later, I still have that feeling every time I like might get in a fight with my wife and say something and catch myself going, fuck, I can't do that, I can't say that, like I don't ever want my daughter to see that or feel that way. So like it's crazy because it reflects on me, or I shouldn't say that, it doesn't reflect on me. I think about that in those moments now because of all of the shit that I did in my past. So like
Absolutely.
it's just like it's crazy like hearing it from your point of view, because I
Mhm.
was that guy on the other side too, and now I've fixed that. So I was always curious as to like your a grown woman's viewpoint that went through that as a child.
Oh yeah, because I saw my mom stay. I
Right.
mean, he cheated on her. He'd go to the bar and be with women and come back loaded. And it's like I saw her stay and just accept it and be loving through it. You know,
So let me
and
ask you this: for a woman who is in a relationship where she's, I think, because most of the time, a lot of women who are in, and more people are in shit relationships than you realize, right?
Yeah.
oh my god,
And they stay because they're comfortable or they're afraid of, like, because moving out, divorce is easy, right? For
hmm
most people. I mean, most people, under 40 don't have a ton of assets and things like that. Like, divorce is pretty common. It's a pretty simple trick, right? Like, it's a process, right? But it's not
hmm
what I mean. Everybody overcomplicates. Oh, my divorce was a mess. No, 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 no. Because I've been divorced and my divorce was fucking simple. It was easy as hell, right?
yeah,
Even though I was fucked up through it and I didn't make it easy because I kept going back and forth from one person to the other, I didn't make it easy emotionally, but logistically it was easy as fuck. So really,
Yeah, I was
like,
saying, because
people that
like
are always like, oh, I
logistically
lost it
maybe
all in
everything.
my divorce, and oh my god, like, my divorce was, I mean, and maybe your divorce was complicated. You didn't really stress on that, but typically it's not.
yeah. It's funny I don't
So
press on it because looking back, I'm like, okay, it was the best thing that ever happened to me.
yeah, no, exactly. So my question is what more people are afraid of than the divorce itself, or more stress that puts on, is taking the next step in life. It's moving on. It's moving
Yeah.
out. Really,
And
it's
oh, yeah.
relocating. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all it really is.
hmm
Your
Yeah.
stuff is in one spot, right?
Yes.
You're and it's like, you're like, oh my god, where am I going to go? I can't go back home. Can't go back home with my parents. Like, I don't have money saved up for a new apartment. And I think a lot of women go through this,
hmm Yes. Yeah.
right? Where they stay in something because it's like, where do I go? What do I do?
Yeah.
But what would
Well,
you tell a woman that's in that headspace, that's like, your life, your clock is ticking?
yeah, it's hard. It's hard for me to sympathize only because I never thought that. I didn't care where I would be. I've always been, I will figure it out. Like, I'm the type of
Sure.
like person that, like, I'm gonna pick myself up. and we're going to do this thing. So
Right. Okay.
when I hate to say it, I'm going to probably strike up a little controversy on this, but there are a lot
Do
of
it.
weak-minded
Do
women,
it.
out there. A lot of weak-minded women. And the thing is that yes, we all go through really bad situations. We put ourselves in shitty situations like, man, shouldn't have been with that guy, maybe, or this situation. But some women are just like, "Ugh, I can't do it. Oh, I have no escape. There's no other options. I'm not smart enough. I'm not talented enough." And it's like, that was the one thing, is like, that was always there. No matter what relationship I was in, I was like, fuck you and watch me do it. Like it's just something in me. It is a little hard for me. And I because I coach women through us, and now that I do that, it's very, very encouraging, because now it's taught me a lot. I've grown a lot because I have to now reach my hand down to these women and be like, hey, like, you can do it. You are strong enough. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
Quit crying.
And a lot
Quit
of these
crying.
women are hot.
Yeah. And it's like,
They could be with like great guys, like they're cool, they're hot, they're just so insecure that they
yeah,
go home to some fucking white Oakleys. You know what white
yeah.
Oakleys are?
Oh shit! Oh man!
You know what white
Yeah.
Oakleys are? Yeah, you guys know what a
On the
white
back of
Oakley
the
is, right?
head. Oh god! I
Yeah,
mean, you're
yeah, the
talking about a
Yeti
person, right?
hat, the white Oakleys,
Yeah, they're probably sitting on the
the
back of the bill, turned backwards right now. Shit.
coming
Oh
home to
man!
this cutie. Guy drives a tractor.
Right?
Yeah.
He's got the connect where the oak. It's got like the band around there. It's a little
Yeah, oh
hanging
yeah,
thing.
yeah, the
Yeah, he
white
just
Oakleys,
drops
you
it
know.
down on the old.
And that guy gets home from a real hard day at work, that whatever, and he's an asshole, and
Mhm.
and like the Bills, not the
It,
football team, but the thing that
yeah.
they owe, and like it's like they sit there like in this, and they just like walk on eggshells, and but they have dreams. I know a lot of these women. They have dreams. They have goals. They have things that they want in life, and they ain't getting it from the white Oakleys.
No.
No.
I
And
think a lot of
they
times what happens with those though is like it's all I could be wrong, but I feel like it's always a situation where like they've been through like so okay, so Shani, for your example, you just happen to run the other way with it, but like go through all of this shit that you went through with all these shit guys and all these issues, and then they land on like this one guy, this one night, and he happens to have a money and a steady job, so she doesn't have to do anything, and she's just sick of fighting it, and she says, "Fuck it, I'm just gonna be with this dude because it's just fucking easier." And here I am. And then as the
yeah
time goes on, they become fucking miserable and start
Oh,
to
yeah.
not want anything anymore.
yeah, you know how to spot that guy out?
Look,
He's got a Yeti sticker on the back of his truck.
say just open your fucking eyes.
Oh my God.
Um,
And these men want to keep them right there. That's it.
Yeah,
yeah, they're just as insecure. They're just as
Right
insecure as
there.
they are, as she is.
yeah,
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Oh
Because
yeah.
they know if they were to say, "Honey, go do whatever you need to do. This is what's going to make you happy. Hell yeah, go after it." They know they're afraid that in doing that, these women are going to leave them, and they're going to realize, and they're finally
they
going to
will.
see it for what it is, because that's what it would
They
happen.
will.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll get out in the real world. They'll start succeeding in life. They'll have a better self worth, and they'll find a guy who
Right.
has real self worth, and a guy that would
Right.
treat them exactly right, because they
Right.
see that in themselves, or they hold themselves to that standard. And suddenly the white Oakleys is bye bye.
Right.
Bye bye. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like women are like 4 points of security and confidence away from like every white Oakley will never have a hot chick, because there are a lot of really hot chicks and like that are really cool that are with white Oakleys. I like that. We just like that's what we stapled.
That's
at white
coined from
Oakleys.
now
That's
on.
like
Yeah.
I love it.
Okay. Yeah, in case all you guys watching and listening right now, in case you heard it right now, White Oakleys. That damn it, that's us. Right
That's
here, right on this,
copyrighted right
right here
here.
on this
Yeah.
show, copyrighted right
And
here.
if you are a white Oakley, take care of your woman. Let her do her thing.
Yeah, and honestly, I feel very sad on this subject, because I feel that men and women were created with like strengths in each gender, and different roles. And I feel like it's like we always talk about iron sharpening iron. There is a role that a man plays, and there is a role that a woman plays, and it's not in competition. There's weaknesses and strength strengths in both. And I feel like if it's healthy, fuck, man, you could freaking rule the world. If it's
Oh yeah.
done in a healthy, right way, and women have so much to give. And that's the thing. It's like, I don't
Yeah.
understand why society has made us so small. And I understand it stems from fucking years ago, and we're on this rise of like, women can do everything. But see that there's a difference though, because there's a little bit of a pandemic though. Is there's the ball
Oh.
busting women, right? The women that are
Mhm.
successful that are like, no, I'm just as good as this fucking man. Like I could, you know, like that vibe.
Yeah,
Like,
they have balls too.
Yeah.
yeah, like, you know, they want to be equal. And it's like, I understand the equality thing, but I also, it's like, okay, for instance, me coming into leadership with you guys being the first lady, right? First woman on leadership.
Mhm.
I would
Yeah.
have to say you guys don't feel the vibe from me that I'm just like, yeah, like I don't even know how to say it, but like I'm coming
No,
in
because
like, proven like that. I'm just as like up to your guys. Do you know what I mean? Like
yeah, I do.
Channy, what happened with you is it was natural. You didn't have to prove yourself
Yeah.
to us, but you did anyways. And
But I
it
think
was
women that
like,
act like that, like I think the
you
women
know
that
what
act
I
like
mean
that
though?
though have been like beaten down so much and
Yeah,
told so many times over and over that they can't, that when they finally say fuck it and they do, they just like have this switch that turns off and they're like, I'm fuck everybody, I'm the best, fuck you, fuck that, you know, and
yeah.
ultimately that's gonna in long term will fuck them up. Like it's gonna
I
ruin,
just think
you
they're
know, they're
well,
gonna,
yeah.
why
I
can't a
just think
woman have both?
they
that's what I'm
can.
saying,
Why
Jay. That's
can't you be
exactly what
career
I'm saying.
oriented better than every, like, I love the fact that my wife, like, she doesn't have to work, you know. And when I say like, hey, we're going on a trip for a month and a half or whatever, like, you got to tell your boss, who's a friend of ours, like, because she runs, she, you know, she's
She
self-employed,
does
okay.
stuff.
I can't say what, but she does stuff, okay. And not anything weird, just so the listeners don't think, but we just don't discuss what her actual
She's in a
job entails.
business
Either
we're not going to
way,
talk about on the podcast.
yes, nothing weird, no feet pics, OnlyFans, nothing sexual, just, you know, we keep it quiet, hush hush. But what I would tell you is that she likes working there. She's been doing it for years. It's dangerous, but, you know, in California. And it's like, but you know, she's very successful at what she does, right? And I'm going to support her. I don't really, honestly, I'd rather she not work, but she likes it. And I'm like, all right, go ahead, spend your money. I pay for everything, you know, but I support her in that, all in all. But at the same time too, when she comes home, she understands, like, I'm
Yes.
not a traditional guy, like, where like woman, like, man is the man, king of the household and stuff like that. That's not how I am. I'm actually pretty liberal, but she is like very understanding. But at the same time, it's like, I love how Brad Lee says it, right? Brad Lee is like, you know, I always talk about having a magic floor. It's like, I take my clothes off, I throw them on the floor, and they end up pressed and put right back on the hanger and put away. And everyone's like, well, Brad, that's sexist, that's chauvinistic, that's not. He's like, no, it's not, because my wife has a magic purse, and the magic purse is all, whenever she needs something, wants something, whatever, that magic purse always has
Motherfucker just
money in it,
fills
no
up with
matter
money.
what, for whatever she wants. And it's true. It's like that's an understanding that we have and I have in my relationship. That's like, look, like, I'm busting ass all day long, and I know she works and she has a great career. She works really hard, but when she comes home, I come home, like, I meet her needs, whatever she needs, and she
Mhm.
meets my needs.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, it's
That's
so
it
much
right there.
easier to do though because you guys are, you know, same like me and Allie. You're on that level of where like you yourself as an individual are very happy with yourself. You're engulfed in your
Mhm.
business and you're at peace and you love what you're
Yeah,
doing and you love
yeah.
who you are. So it's very easy when you're at that place in your life to say, "Honey, yeah, dude, that makes you happy. Yeah, let's do that. Hell yeah, let's do
Well,
this.
you
What do
know,
you
it's
need?
funny
I
too,
got
because
you.
she
Let's do
wants
this.
to get
Want to go to
into,
dinner?
well, yeah,
Good.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you,
No,
but she
you're
wants
good.
to get into the sound. She wants to get into sound bowls and doing sound baths. Okay.
Oh,
And
Oh,
nice.
she's like, she
cool.
likes all the crystals and the hippie stuff and all that. Okay. I
Hmm.
don't get it. I don't get it. When she sets them up, I'm like, you got your drum set out. And she's like, it's not a drum set, you know? And I'm like,
Drum set.
and I'm like, but I support it all in all. And I'm like, she's like, she wants to take a class and like teaching to be able, so she could be a sound bath teacher and stuff like that. And I'm all for it. I'm like, well, why don't you just do it on our platform and start doing it on social media and teaching people on whatever and create your own little business out of it. And you can stay home with me all day long. We'll drive each other crazy. Cool.
Sound drums and
But
podcast.
I want her to do that. I want her to have that stuff. I want her to do whatever she wants, whatever the fuck she wants. I don't care. I'm a secure man.
Exactly.
You know, we don't need to tell each other what, like when she's at work and I'm working, like we don't need to, like we check in with each other.
Yes.
You know, hey, how's your day going? Love you, whatever. But it's not like when she goes out with her friends, like I don't give a fuck. Like go out.
You know what it is,
fun.
and that's exactly it. It's a partnership. It's like what you both of you said. You're both married and you're happily married. That's what I mean. It's like a yin and a yang, right?
Yeah.
Yin and yang or yin and what, you know what I mean? It's like there's a partnership. It's like you meet her needs one way and she meets your needs one way, and it doesn't feel like work. And the reason why is because you both are, and I speak for you too, Scotty, and your wife is like, you guys are whole as people, like your own individual selves. You're whole, right? You're happy and fulfilled in your success and who you are. You work on yourself every day. And then so you guys come together and it's like all you have is to just love on each other and be happy for each other and uplift each other.
Well, and it's easy to pour into it, you know, because you are fulfilled in your day to day, you know, and you almost become more grateful for your relationship at that point.
Oh yeah. And I realized that like I was always willing to give that, but there was a part of it that obviously he had trauma, you know, all my exes had trauma, but I really had trauma too. So it's like when you have trauma that you haven't healed from and you're not a whole person, there's only so much love you can actually give someone. It's like a limit, like a cap.
Right.
Like this 100%. Is my level.
And anything past that, you're like really reaching and you're draining yourself of, you know, what is left in you to give, like by trying to pull more of that out, right?
Absolutely.
So I want to go back to one thing you talked about earlier on. Sorry, Scotty. I want to go back to one thing that you talked about early on, and I wanted to address this because I had an interesting conversation with a dude a while back. And I'll tell you what that conversation was after. But you went to Thailand and you came back and just went back to like your normal habits, your normal thing, your codependency, all of that. And it's like when you put it on a pedestal or you think about it, like, were you going to Thailand to like find yourself and do all that?
Oh yeah.
So my thing to that, and I keep hearing about this. I hear about guys that are like, oh, I'm going to go do a mushroom retreat and I'm going to go to, you know, Bali and really find myself. Like, just fucking take a trip. Just take a trip. If you happen to find yourself, you're probably not, because that takes work. Like, oh, I'm going to go do, what's the other thing that they do? The tea, the ayahuasca. I'm going to go disappear into the jungle and I'm going to like do ayahuasca and I'm going to like fucking come back and be totally different. Like, no, you're not. You're not going to be different. You're not going to become different. You need to fucking put in work in yourself. You need to fucking wake up earlier or whatever it is that works for you. You need to do that. Take a fucking trip. That's it.
I actually have
to say, and that's not directed towards you, Channy.
No, well, I was young and I didn't know what to do. That's like what you do when you're young, right? You're just like, oh my God, I just need to get away. Now, I would never do that now. Now I'm like,
right.
Oh, I need to change my daily habits. I need to like dig fucking deep. And you know, I want to say this, I'm not docking therapy at all. Therapy is awesome for some people, but have you ever had a friend in therapy that doesn't do anything in their daily life to change, but they just go to therapy like once a week?
Oh yeah, most people.
Everything.
And then they're in the same place and they don't understand why they're in the same place. They're like, this person, I'm just sitting here and I'm paying hundreds of dollars to, you know, talk and vent to this person for an hour. And they're still suicidal and depressed and don't understand why they're fat and like all.
But I go to therapy.
Yeah, but I
But
go
I'm
to
going
therapy. Yeah.
to therapy. I'm working on my inner child. It's like, you know
Yeah,
what?
but you know what's even more fucked up is the
It's
fact that the therapist will just continue to see them,
oh
knowing
yeah,
damn well they're not making any fucking changes, take their
fun.
Well, they're
money, and
making
just
money.
yeah, they're making money, so they just continue to
Yeah.
just let them do this shit constantly
But
over and over.
Yeah, put them on some
you know,
medicine. Put them on some medicine, and have them keep coming back for their $150 an hour session.
Yeah.
That's a great business model. But yeah,
you know,
no,
yeah,
it's
how I healed through a lot is I committed my life to excellence. That was it.
Yep.
okay.
Right? So I said, I'm gonna be fucking excellent at everything. So I'm gonna get up
Fucking
early. I'm
A.
gonna make sure my lifting is excellent, my eating is excellent. You know what? My mind is so weak. I'm fucking weak. This is how I would talk to myself. All right, so what am I gonna do? I'm gonna start listening and reading like people that are like elite top achieving people and just soak it all in. Reprogram my train of thought. It was like in those
Oh
types
yeah.
of, okay, I'm going to cut out all my toxic friends. I'm going to cut out all the people that want to call me up and talk shit about some bullshit situation and you just wasted an hour of my life. I just honed in on being like, it's just like poison, right? It doesn't matter. It's like Matrix, the blue pill or the fucking red pill, right? Like which one are you gonna take? You know, it's like this one goes down this hole, and this, you know, that's how I felt. I'm like, I have to completely shift everything that I've done and
One
known,
hundred percent.
because I always, like I said, I always felt like I had so much to do with my life, but what was happening, I was letting all this other people and shit just keep me back. And so I was like, well, that clearly didn't work for 30 years of my life. So, what have I not done yet? I haven't actually made myself. I want to be great. So, what do I got to do? I got to reprogram everything, my whole structure of my life. And I didn't even need therapy. That, like this time around, I didn't even need therapy. I'm the happiest I've ever been because I just did it myself. It's like all that trauma is like healed, is like because my confidence in myself has like skyrocketed, so then my standards have skyrocketed, and I don't care who it is. I just told myself, I'm like, no one's holding me back anymore. No guy. I've dated, I've gone on a couple. You know what's funny? It's actually really fun to date now because you're just like, you see one thing that just doesn't match, and it's not that anyone's perfect, no one's perfect, but like you're not on the same level as me. I'm just like, hey man, it's just not going to work out. What? I don't understand. Just
Have
for
you
us.
gotten good at breaking out or breaking it off,
Oh,
or have you gotten good at
oh yeah.
ghosting?
She's a
Honestly,
pro
you
now.
don't owe,
No,
you
I
don't
don't
even
ghost.
owe it to
No,
someone.
no, I don't ghost because ghosting is just
Oh,
a
I like ghosting.
no. Well, I ghost certain like not guys, but like just people that are not healthy for me. I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
But like a guy, if I'm
yeah.
talking to a
I
guy or something,
honestly like if I was a girl, I would just ghost. Like if it's like not gonna work out, I'd just like block, delete, bye. I wouldn't even bother.
say
Like, if
it
I was a
holds
woman,
guys.
I would be the biggest bitch. I would be like, yeah, that wasn't good. Yeah,
fuck you,
thanks for
block,
the
No, no, I
dick.
delete.
mean,
No,
Thanks for dinner and the dick. I'm out.
I'm
Block,
there's
out.
a
delete.
I'm
couple,
out.
See ya.
yeah, there's a couple guys that I've done that to just because it's like it's better to starve something sometimes. You know, you just remove your energy. You're just like, oh, it'll die on its own. Let's just starve it.
Yeah.
But there's been times, that I'm really nice and I'm just like, hey, I just don't think we're, on the same path, or I don't know. I use some hippy dippy words. They're like, we don't want the same things. And some of them are just like, oh, okay, no worries. You're great.
Love
Take
those
care.
guys.
Yeah, I
Love
Yeah,
say
those
those are
love
guys.
probably
those
the best
guys.
ones.
Love those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then
those are the best guys.
there's guys that are like, just my phone's just blow. They're just ring, ring, ring. We got to talk on the phone. I'm like, I don't really understand what we need to talk about. I'm good. Like, there's something that I'm not into, but it's so fun now. I actually feel very liberated, you guys. I feel very liberated because
In
before
doing this.
I'd be like, oh, he's really hot. Okay. And then we'd go out and then I'm like, oh, I like him. And then I'd see like some shit qualities. And I'd be like, it's fine. It's all right. Now I'm just like, hey, I'm good, man. Like, take care. Hope wish you the best.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, honestly, you know what I mean? Like, it's
That's
really
good. That's a
liberating.
good place to be. That's a great
It's
place to
good.
be, right?
It's
So with
fun.
everything that you've been through,
Yep.
and now you're at this point of high standards. Okay.
Yeah.
what do your standards look like in a man?
Well, I want someone that's a lot like me. I know that sounds weird because they always say like you want someone opposites attract. I disagree with that. Um I think that a good partnership takes, I want someone driven like me. I want someone successful that maybe has trauma too, right? But is like risen above it, has a chip on his shoulder maybe too. I don't like a complainer. It just, there's a lot of things now, and it's the standards aren't even how he looks necessarily, even though that is a big standard of mine, only because like weightlifting to me is it's like my bread and butter. So it's like I can't be with a fat guy. I just couldn't, right? I mean, it's like that's
No,
like,
no, yeah,
Yeah, but
you know, that's like
you've also been through that to where you understand like that guy's not going to be happy anyways. So why the fuck would you even?
yeah.
right, yeah. Jumping into bed, so to speak, and by bed I mean the relationship, with a fat guy, and I know this because I used to be a fat guy. I mean, first of all, you're probably going to end up fat too. It's very, very likely. And
Right.
it's just, man, it's a lot of insecurity to build into a relationship. I don't know how these fat guys do it, to be honest. I just don't. It's obviously they're either funny or they have money or both, but that's really all, because or the woman has no self-respect and will just lay down to anything in the first place. But it's really hard to be in a relationship with a fat person, and I know because I was the fat person in that relationship.
Yeah.
The energy's not there. Your fucking dick doesn't work for shit when you're fat. And the fat guys that say that, they're like, oh, I have no problem getting it up. You don't fuck like Justin 2.0. You don't fuck like Scotty. Like, I'm sorry, bro, but your
Not the
fupa,
same thing.
yeah, your fucking big ass belly. Like, we know what a fat belly dick looks like. It looks like shit. It
Not a
looks
good
like
look.
the worst dick ever.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and it's the
Definitely
truth.
way. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
And
yeah. No,
whatever.
I want someone like me. I know that sounds weird, but I want someone listen, I have such big plans.
Jack driven,
Yeah.
self-sufficient, and not
Do you think that the
insecure.
idea of
Not
like
insecure.
opposites attract was
I
also
don't,
something created by like this fucking mediocre
is that what
relationship
that
of
is?
like,
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah.
mean? Because the
I don't
reality
understand.
is, I feel like powerhouse people and individuals like what you're saying in relationships like that seems like that would be the ultimate goal always for everybody, right?
Oh
Well, yeah,
yeah.
Scotty, any cliche is fucking bullshit for the most part. Some of it's true, in a stereotypical type of way, and I don't mean like
Right.
racism or anything like that. But what I'm saying is like any
Racism.
cliche, any cliche is really fucking, is a lot of times it's really bullshit, and it's only cliche in the eyes of the person that has that perception. Because yeah, I mean, opposites attract, like, you know eh, come
Because
on.
look at like what I was just saying. I feel like I've been reborn this year.
Yeah.
And so to me in my mind, I'm like, I'm just starting. I'm just starting.
Right.
So if my mentality now is like, no one's going to hold me back, then that means that the only way, because I'm whole on my own, I love myself, that I'm going to bring a man in my life is he's going to add value to my life now. So he's going to let me be fully who I am. Like I never have to like make myself small or like feel uncomfortable because I'm being myself. Like I've been told I'm too much by somebody in a relationship. Like you're too much. You need to calm down.
Bye.
And
Yes, yeah,
right,
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And so that's my point is like I want someone who fully sees me, loves me for who I am, but is like, let's go, baby. We're fucking going to the top together. That's what I want.
Yeah. But
Because
yeah,
Powerful
like,
shit.
how do
there's
people
something
not
to
like
be
how can
said.
people not imagine that?
Right. I think there's something to be said is like I could get far on my own. I don't need fucking nobody, right? But there's something to be said about having a powerhouse partner too, and you guys
Yeah.
doing that together. Because I believe in that.
Yeah,
I do.
I love
I
that.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I think
So
everybody like wants to share a life with somebody. So anybody that says they want to be
Yes.
alone, I think bullshit anyways.
Oh
Like
yeah.
you just want to be alone because you fucking either you have no qualities to offer and you understand that no one fucking wants to talk to you, but you're just too chicken shit to make the change to fucking make it for the better.
Oh
You know what I
man, call
mean?
it out.
Or
Yeah.
B you're just full of shit. And
Oh yeah.
like
I think I'm more hungry
Yeah,
for.
no, I think everybody has a desire. I think it's beautiful to be able to be happy and be alone, but
Yes.
everybody has a desire to have their person.
right,
That's just basic,
Yes.
human need,
right.
like that, whatever
Yes.
instinct. It's needed. But I actually think it's beautiful to to not be codependent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
You
Well,
think
I
it's
know,
think
actually necessary first, right? I think it's
yeah,
more
yeah, you got
necessary
to be happy
first
alone and
before
like
you can
totally
right.
actually, yeah.
self-sufficient.
That's it.
You are literally, Jenny, you
That's
are
it.
exactly where you need to be in your stage of life, in your rebirth.
Yeah.
I
I
love,
kind
and
of
it's so funny because as I've
bring
gotten
that
to
new
know
person.
you, it's been like that. It's been like, you've set your standards so high, it sounds like you've dated around, but you've been in 3 major relationships in your life. So I can relate to you
Mhm.
there,
Mhm.
and it's like, get happy and not comfortable ever, but get happy
Yeah.
and comfortable in your own skin, right?
Mhm.
And in your own thoughts and in your own shit, to
Mhm.
where, then it's like, okay, now I'm here. I've graduated.
Yes.
Now I'm off to college, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the next chapter where it's like that person will come. Don't actively pursue it. Like it's
No,
so
I'm not.
funny too, because I don't think online dating is a bad thing in hookup culture, but I do think that the desperation, I'm curious to know, can we look this up? How many online relationships are successful, and then how many relationships to marriage are successful over 10
Oh,
years?
that'd be an interesting number. I wonder.
That
Because
is
my
really.
question is that, yeah, it's like if you have two desperate people,
Mhm.
right? And I don't believe that everybody online is desperate at all. I truly think it's actually a great place to
No,
meet a
I would actually
significant
support
other.
that. Well, I would support that.
I bet, yeah, but I bet there's quite a few. There's probably a
If
high
you
percentage
feel
of fuck it people. Like,
okay,
fuck it.
listen.
Like,
I
I'm
got
going
on
in.
I got on the apps right out of my divorce, so obviously I was vulnerable. I was not happy with myself, low self worth, and you have to build a profile to make yourself look good. There's a lot of effort into that, so of course you're needy and desperate. Everybody on online,
Okay.
I'm just
Okay.
gonna say that. Sorry, everybody that's
Yeah.
online, but yeah, if you have
So
to
either
really
hookup culture, which is great, right? Hookup culture is
different. That's
fine.
different. Like, yeah, you just want
Yeah.
to get the booty. That's different. I'm
Or
talking about
desperation,
like
generically speaking. But
yeah.
I appreciate, I see, here's the thing. I brought this up, and I had to retract right away, because I do believe that I had to retract right away, because I do believe that there is a place for people, and I do believe the power of social media,
Yeah.
online situations, virtual things. I believe the power of it. It's made me a fucking millionaire. Not online dating, but virtual
Yes.
relationships,
Right.
connections, business, and things like that.
Yes.
So, um, I'd be speaking out of both sides of my mouth if I said that everybody's desperate and a loser. To be able to say, like, maybe the guy that lives in fucking butt fuck Texas, that has an option of his sister or his cousin,
Right. He's trying to find that one. He's got to go
but he's a
online.
great guy, and he's got a ranch and other mediocre shit,
Other
like
cousins and shit.
other cousins and
Right.
whatever. Like, maybe we're talking more West Virginia or Kentucky when we start talking about cousins, but maybe they're like, it's like, hey, if I land on someone great, like, this is cool,
Yeah, and
come
I
to my
think people
ranch.
do find love. Maybe I'm just being a little, I don't know, because
You're no, I love it. I actually really like it. I
I'm
like
more
how
of a,
you are.
yeah, I mean, I'm more of a traditionalist, and like I'd rather meet somebody organically through like a friend or something, so that like that friend knows them prior, maybe knows their habits,
Yeah, I think that
knows
is the best. So I met my wife
like
through a friend. Yep.
yeah,
I
versus
think that's
online,
I
I
think that's a
feel
good
like
route.
online they can kind of paint whatever picture they want, you know?
Yeah.
Yep. I don't think a bar is safe, obviously. Like, I don't think a bar is safe. I honestly don't know if a gym is safe or not.
Oh my gosh, no. Mm-mm.
Yeah,
They're the worst.
they're trying though. They
Yeah,
definitely
you're
Worst.
gonna run into a lot of
trying.
broke people. Yeah, you're gonna run into
They're
a lot of
trying.
broke
No,
people
it's
trying to
not even
flex.
that. It's not even that. It's like usually guys out of the gym are just playboys. Like you think like I mean, I'm a pretty smart cookie. It's like you think when he slides into my DM because he saw that I was at the gym but had no ball sack to come up to me while I was at the gym, but then he comes into my DM later that day. You think that I'm the only girl that he's sliding into on the DM?
Oh
Yeah.
no, yeah, he's
That's
playing
why he didn't
numbers.
come up to you
No,
in person. He didn't
He's
come up to you in
playing
person. He
numbers.
wanted me to see it.
he's playing a Russian roulette. He's freaking like probably DMing 50 and seeing how many statistic wise like
Oh,
responds
I
back
guarantee
and
it.
entertain. You know, it's like gym
Guarantee
guys
it.
are
He's
the
trying to put you on the blacklist. He's trying to put you in the book.
worst.
Jenny,
Okay,
so
so
what is
how
the
does so
rest?
what is
What?
good? Well, I
Oh,
was to say, what does what we're here, right? Like, what does I want to know what from right now past, forget about the fucking relationships, forget about all of that shit. I want to know, where does Shani in the next, what is your next 2-3 years? Where are you at? I want to know, like, you have done so much in this short period of time where you really decided, I'm gonna fucking go all in on myself and I'm gonna make these changes. And you've done a ton in a very short period of time. So I'm very curious to know in your head, what is this next, like, big fucking, what's the next phase? What does that look like
Yeah,
for you?
absolutely. Um, I plan to be making six figures in the next few months. You know, the next 6 months. Within 6 months, my plan is to be making six figures and just buying a home within a year from now. Um, Working on retirement and investing and things that I've never ever been able to do or think about, you know, because everything I've done up until now has been pinching pennies, living paycheck to paycheck. And now I'm thinking big picture, like leaving a legacy for my kids. I'm thinking owning multiple homes in multiple states, multiple cars. You know what I mean? Putting my kids through college, or if they don't want to go to college and they want to go do something
sounds
else,
like
you
she
know what I
got into
mean?
JWFIT leadership, huh?
It sounds like it, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
it's
You
all
does.
know,
really. That's like the most reality that you know what I mean? Like you have no
yeah,
idea.
like I'm like when I mean that this is just the beginning, I really freaking mean that.
We
You know,
believe it.
because I'm
We've
Yeah,
watched.
my word is my
we wouldn't
bond.
bring you on if it wasn't. Like
I
I
know,
mean, we wouldn't even think
I
that.
know, I know. I'm excited for a year from today because of what I accomplished last year in like less than a year. Actually, less than a year, 7 months. 7 months. So a year
Yeah,
from today, 12 months from today, let's have another podcast episode and see where I'm
Oh
at.
yeah, we're definitely gonna do that. And for those of you
I
that don't know,
you're gonna be on a lot more moving forward.
oh,
But
a lot
Channy,
more,
so if I'm
a
listening
ton
right
more.
now and I made it all this way, and I would imagine that anybody listening that related to you is going to listen to this whole entire hour and a half. This went on for an hour and a half, you guys.
oh my
Yeah, we're still
goodness.
going. We're going
Wow.
strong.
How would they find you?
You can find me on Instagram at ShannyFit. That's CHANNYFIT. That is my main platform. I don't want to say Facebook. I'm on Facebook, but I would check out Instagram. That's where I post the most.
You got a
Yeah,
website?
I do have a website.
All right.
But I have some links on my Instagram. Go to my Instagram.
Just
You'll
go to
see that.
Instagram, guys.
Go to
Go to
go to
Instagram.
Instagram.
Quit fucking around. Channy, this has been my favorite, actually my favorite show so far.
Yeah, this has been
And I'm
great.
not just saying this because you're on it.
Are you sure?
No, it's
It
been great.
was like she is
Oh, thank you.
constantly just amazing me over and over and over again. Guys, thank you so much for listening to Channy, Scotty, and myself. And go check out Channy at Channy Fit. On Instagram. Just go to Instagram, guys. If you don't have an Instagram, quit being fucking weird and go get Instagram. It's a great place to be. And catch us next time. Thank you so much for coming on, guys. Later on. All right, guys, that wraps up an episode of the Wolves Only podcast powered by JWFIT. Listen, if you guys like what you heard, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like and comment, help us get our message out there. If you want to work with our team, go ahead and click the link in the description below. Schedule a call with us. We'd love to get you on. We really appreciate you guys listening. And if you have any other questions, you can reach out to us on all forms of social media. Thank you so much.